Unfortunately, half of all marriages today are ending in divorce. But what effect does that divorce have upon Social Security benefits? How much can the ex-spouse get, and will it hurt the other spouse? So there are 7 questions that we have to consider to know the answer. I'll explain that in this video. So we're going to look at 7 critical questions if you're going to draw benefits from a living ex-spouse, and then 4 critical questions if you're trying to draw benefits from an ex-spouse that is now deceased. And then at the end, stay with me, because there's 3 crucial factors that you also must be aware of if you decide to take ex-spousal benefits. So let's go through these questions. And again, we're talking about this spouse that you're trying to draw from is still alive. Question number 1 is this: were you married to your ex-spouse 10 years or longer? Folks, this has to say yes. If you were married less than 10 years, you're not going to be eligible to draw those benefits. Question number 2, are you presently single or divorced? In other words, your present marital state, are you single or divorced? Now, if you're saying yes, then we actually get to skip the next question. But let's suppose your answer is no. You're not presently single or divorced, meaning you've remarried. There's a real key to your remarriage, and that would be this question. If you are remarried, did your remarriage occur after turning age 65? And again, if you say no to that, meaning you remarried prior to the age of 60, you're not eligible to draw those benefits. Now, it's all right if you did remarry, as long as it occurred after age 60, you're still eligible for those ex-spousal benefits. All right, so again, we're always looking for these yeses here. All right, now let's keep going. Question number 4, is your ex-spouse age 62 or older? And so again, this has to be yes, but if you say no, then you're not eligible, because they have to be at least eligible for Social Security. You'll see in a minute, it doesn't necessarily mean they have to be taking, but they have to be eligible. So again, if you say no, end of story, we cannot draw benefits. So once again, we've got to have a yes in this particular column. Now remember, this one could have been yes or no depending upon when you remarried. But so far, we can only have one no. Now let's go to question number 5, very critical. Now, is your ex-spouse taking Social Security benefits? In other words, have they already applied for benefits on their own? Now again, if it's yes, then we're going to be able to skip the next question. It won't matter. But if you had to answer this one no, they're not taking, then we have another question that has to be asked, and that is, how long has your divorce been? So have you been divorced for at least 2 years? Meaning, so if you say they're not taking their own benefits, as long as your divorce is over 2 years, you can say yes to that, and now you can apply for those benefits. But if your divorce is less than 2 years and they're not taking, you're not eligible to draw ex-spousal benefits. So you can kind of see what's happening here. So this could have been yes or no. If it was no, that has to be a yes to be able to qualify. And then the last question is 50% of your ex-spouse's benefit? Because remember, that's what spousal benefit is. Not survivor benefit, but spousal. That spouse is still alive. You're eligible for 50%, based upon penalties and different things, but 50% of whatever they're eligible for at their full retirement age. So the question is 50% of what they're eligible for at full retirement age more than 100% of your own account? Meaning it's going to be greater. And so again, you have to say yes to that, because if 100% of your account is more than 50% of theirs and you apply for Social Security, you're obligated to take your own benefit. That's called the deeming provision. So again, if it's a greater amount, now we're eligible to draw those spousal benefits. Hey, if you found this video helpful and you want to see more Medicare information just like it, then go below, right below the video, and you can give us the thumbs up as well as subscribe to our channel. And every time I put a new video, which is about 2 every week, you'll be notified of that video, and others just like you who need this vital information will get it as well. All right, so those are the questions for receiving benefits on a living spouse. Let's talk about receiving benefits from an ex-spouse, though that ex-spouse is now deceased, because you could be eligible to draw those benefits. Now keep this in mind. Anytime that we're going to draw benefits off of an ex-spouse, whether living or deceased, you personally also have to be at least 62, maybe above that, but we have to be at least 62. You can't can't draw those benefits. Now, if someone is married to someone and that person dies, they actually can draw actual widow or widower benefits at age 60. But if it's ex, it's going to have to be at least 62 years old. So I'm going to be clear on that. So let's look at the 4 questions that we must answer here from drawing an ex-spouse. And don't forget, folks, after this, I'm going to give you those 3 crucial factors you got to be aware of for ex-spousal benefits. So question number 1, were you married to your ex-spouse 10 years or more, just like before? And that has to be an emphatic yes. If you weren't, you cannot go back on that ex-spouse at all, whether living or deceased. You just simply can't. So that has to be yes. Question number 2, are you presently single or divorced? And again, as we saw earlier, now if the answer is yes, then we get to skip the next question. But if you are presently married, then what's going to happen? Well, we're going to ask the next question is this. Did your remarriage occur after turning age 60? Because if someone remarries prior to the age of 60, they cannot go back to that ex-spouse if indeed they're presently married. But again, if you're single or divorced right now, it doesn't matter. Okay, so again, we're going to have a yes there. And then we have the final question, is your ex-spouse's benefit greater than your own benefit? And again, remember, if it's a living spouse, the question here was 50%. But it's different when it comes to a deceased benefit, because your ex-spouse's benefit, whatever they're eligible for, 100% is exactly what you would be eligible for. So the question is 100% of your own benefit going to be less than their benefit? And if you say yes, theirs is greater, then you can apply for Social Security benefits from that deceased ex-spouse. Now let's look at the 3 crucial factors. All right, factor number 1 is this. Ex-spousal benefits, whether it's from a living or from a deceased, can still be reduced. What does that mean? All of us have what we call a full retirement age. And if you're born in 1958, that full retirement age is 66 and 8 months. 1959, 66 and 10 months. 1960 thereafter, it's 67. But all of us have a full retirement age, and this is when we're eligible for a Social Security benefit that is not reduced. But if we ever take Social Security in any form, whether it's our own retirement benefits, it's an ex-spousal, it's an ex-survivor type benefits, it is going to be reduced on the average of about 6% a year. And so I want to make sure that you know that if you do decide to take your benefit, that spousal or ex-spousal benefits, prior to your own full retirement age, it is going to be less of an amount. Okay, just simply is going to be reduced. Hey, if you're finding this video to be helpful and you would like to learn more about Medicare, you'll notice up here in the right-hand corner, there's an eye. And if you'll click on that eye, it's going to take you to a 20-minute workshop. I see people make mistakes all the time, and we don't want that to happen to you. And that's why we're giving you free access to this workshop. So go ahead, click the link, and learn more about Medicare. And then the second crucial factor is this. If you're going to take that ex-spousal benefit, it still would be noticed subject to what is called the earnings test. And what this means is someone is trying to take a benefit before they hit their full retirement age, and what's happening, they are still working. In other words, you're still working and getting wages, because anytime we take a benefit of any retirement amount, spousal, survivor, any benefit prior to full retirement age, if we continue to work, what's going to happen is those wages that we're getting work are going to be subject to what's called the earnings test. Now, right now, what that means is anyone between the age of 62 up until basically 65, the most they can make right now is $21,240 in wages. And for every $2 they make above that, their Social Security benefit, regardless of what type it is going to be reduced by $1. Okay, so every 2 above, we lose $1. Now, what happens is the year that we turn full retirement age, whenever that is, this number goes up. It goes up to $56,520. So whatever year you turn, so that would be January through whatever year, the month that you turn 65, you can make more money. The earnings test goes up substantially. We can make $56,520 from January to the month prior to when we hit full retirement age. And not only can we make more, the penalty is less. For every $3 above, they take $1 out. So when I say we're still subject to the earnings test, that's what I'm talking about. Now, again, I'm shooting this video. It is September 6, 2023. These numbers will be a little bit higher if you're looking this in 2024, but we're still subject to earnings test. But here's my point. Once we hit our full retirement age, then what happens is the earnings test goes away. Now we can make as much money as we want at our work, any other kind of income, and it's not going to be reduced. Our Social Security check then is not going to have any consequence whatsoever. We can work and make as much money as we want and still receive the full Social Security benefits. All right, so that's the implication. Then there's just one more item that you need to be aware of, and that's this: your ex-spouse is in no way affected. So in other words, when you take that ex-spousal benefit, if you're eligible for it, we answered all the right yeses. When you take that benefit, it does not hurt them in any way. It's not going to cause them to have a reduced benefit in any fashion. So I want to make sure you know you're not really getting into their pocket and hurting them in any way. And also keep this in mind, there's no way they can keep you from getting that ex-spousal benefit either. I don't care if it's put in the divorce decree. That doesn't matter. If you're eligible based upon those questions that you and I talked about, you absolutely can draw their benefits. Okay, so that's the way ex-spousal benefits work.